One of the best parts of World of Warcraft Classic is the leveling. There's something so great about starting all over again, exploring new places, exploring new quests, and exploring a new class. Seeing your class come together as all the abilities start to synergize in combat is amazing. And since I started playing WoW Classic back in December last year, I've so far gotten a grand total of 2 characters to max level, and I just couldn't help but make another, but on an entirely new class that I've never played, on a race that I've never played. Last time was my first time trying out a druid, and really one of the biggest selling points for me is cat form. It's such a cool idea, being able to turn into a big cat and just maul away at your enemies. So that is the goal for today. Unlock cat form and explore its abilities, and maybe also get to level 25, because why not? To start the day off, I decided to head into Redridge Mountains in order to complete some of the quests that I didn't do last time. Actually, it was primarily finishing off the last part of Redridge Goulash, where we have to find dire condors and take 5 of their meat, which ended up taking way longer than it should have. I also headed up the back to complete the Everstill Bridge quest, basically murdering gnolls in order to loot a few items. I also attempted to do the axe collecting quest just as I was going past, but the only other quest that I had left to do were the elite quests, and I didn't really feel like finding a group for it, so I decided that I would instead go for a Deadmines run. Ah, the joys of being a tank, finding a group in less than 3 seconds. Once we were all prepared and ready, we started to make our way towards the entrance and got stuck straight into it. So a couple of reasons why I wanted to run Deadmines, obviously for XP, but also for the blackened Defias armor. An insane chest piece that would be very good for a lot of levels. There is of course the rest of the blackened Defias set, but I already have them. We make it to the first boss, Zor, and obviously take him down very easily. We then make it into the next boss's room and start to pull all of the goblins. Now, one thing I've noticed with druid tanking is that it can really only hold aggro on about 3, maybe 4 mobs at a time, and even then a simple rogue most of the time generates more threat than me, but I'm sure that will get better as we level up. We take down Sneed and continue moving through the mines until we eventually make it to the next goblin room, and I of course do my best to be very careful. We kill Gilnid and sadly no caster ring, but we keep moving until we are in the final room of the dungeon. And this room houses 4 separate bosses, the first being Mr. Smite, and I quite like him since he's the only boss in the dungeon with any sort of mechanic. He just stuns the party for a few seconds, but it's better than nothing. We then make our way up the long path on the side of the ship until we get to Captain Foreskin, who is a little trickier, especially to tank, but we got him down no bother. He also dropped a lovely staff for the casters. And second to last is Edwin Van Cleef. Again, a relatively tricky one since he continuously spawns ad that do not die when you kill him, and sadly he did not drop the Defias blackened armor, but I'm sure we will probably have another chance at it later. And after killing Cookie, I did actually go back in for an additional 2 runs. Sadly though, I seem to have a bit of an encoding issue, which rendered the footage useless, which is a shame because I met a pretty cool guy along the way. However though, that did get us to level 20, which means it's cat time. As excited as I possibly could be, I went back to Stormwind and headed for my class trainer, because unlike the bear form, we do not have to go through an entire quest chain, and can learn it directly from my trainer. Isn't that just the coolest thing? I mean, sure, I only have access to 1 damage dealing ability technically, but I am excited to try it out. You know, I think it's time that I actually explored a new place. So I hopped on a bird and started flying towards Ashenvale. Upon arriving, I decided to accept a quest from some bloke on the side of the road, because why not? not. He had us go on a pretty easy detour to pick up a few plants, pretty easy stuff. I continued my journey deeper into Ashenvale until I came across a nice little place called Astronar. I made sure to pick up the flight point because I very often forget to do that, even when my entire purpose of visiting somewhere is for the flight point. I grabbed every quest in the area, even the ones that were too high of a level, just in case. And then I first headed to this small pond area for a small quest chain, where we first need to collect a glowing gem from a random murloc, which I managed to get after only killing one. I then headed to the west to help out another random bloke on the side of the road, who sent us on a nice and simple murder and collect quest, killing a lot of sea snakes. His following quest, he sends us to a small island, and I knew it was a little too high of a level, but I thought I would at least give it a go. Didn't quite work out too well. So I continued to do the rest of Ashenvale like normal, collecting weed and murdering these bear freaks. I mean, are these even bears? They're like humanoid bears. But after that, everything was too high of a level. However, there was a quest that led me into Stonetalon Mountains, and I was told that Stonetalon is always swarming with horde, so I went there anyway. First up was killing these pride wings for their venom sacs, but there wasn't that many spawns until we got further in, so I just did them as I went past. I then needed to visit this little shack in order to accept a quest, and I caught eyes on a little rogue, and I'm not entirely sure what to do in druid PvP, so I applied him with a rip so that he couldn't stealth away, and then pressed claw. Worked out pretty well, I would say. I then accepted a quest from this guy to go and kill Ventrico, and I gotta say, I really like this area aesthetically. I really like the rockiness of it all, and there's a nice pond of water in the middle. It's all really nice. And I've said it before, but I will say it again. I am not built for the glory of the Alliance. I'm built for the sandy dunes of Durotar. But whilst I was doing the quest, I happened to clock the same rogue as before. So I killed him whilst his health was low. Made me kind of feel bad, but at the same time, it really didn't. After I was done with the Ventrico quest, I headed up the north of Stonetalon to finish off the Pride Wing murder quest, which admittedly took like 30 minutes. And of course I went and grabbed the flight point, but after that we were done with Stonetalon, and as enjoyable as it was short. So I made my way back to Stormwind to visit my trainer, where we would learn some very important abilities. Primarily, the ability Shred, which I'm told is going to be my biggest damage dealer. We also picked up Rebirth whilst we were at it, because why wouldn't I? I then went back into Redridge. Even though there isn't that many quests for me to do, I just love this zone. I finished the axe collecting quest that we started earlier, whilst also adding some new additions to my UI, like this energy bar. I also did the quest where we have to collect fish from dead murlocs, and I don't think I have ever seen mobs respawn this quickly in Classic before, like they were always on top of me. And lastly, I went and did the other gnoll killing quest, because it wouldn't be a World of Warcraft session unless you kill a minimum of 150 gnolls. But you know, there was just one thing playing on my mind: the blackened Defias armor. I only needed that to finish the set, and I would soon be outside of the XP threshold. So I decided to go back into the Deadmines for one last time. Luckily for me though, this was going to be my first time DPSing the Deadmines. Much more relaxed than tanking, and besides, a warrior is much more efficient for tanking anyway. Firstly, Rak Zor, and I gotta be real, I was having a lot of fun with this spec. It's nice and quick, the animations are smooth, and just overall feels really cool to play. It's just like playing a terrible rogue. But anyway, we make it through the first part no problem at all. Plus, Gilnid dropped a nice ring for the casters. We also then kill Smite and Greenskin no problem, which leaves us standing next to Van Cleef. And I said to myself, this would be the last time that I would do Deadmines. But all I could really do was hope that it drops. And nothing. Well, that was that. I wasn't about to go back in for like the 10th time just for a single piece of level 20 loot. So I consulted my map to choose another location to quest for a bit, and I went with Duskwood. Obviously, the first thing I did was fill up my quest log with as many quests as I could, and there wasn't many to do since I came here a level early, but I got to work doing what I could. And first up, Skeleton Fingers, which is the first part to a 3-part quest. I started by killing these skeleton horrors, but quickly remembered that I needed to go further south, since I needed to kill skeleton warriors and mages anyway. And you know, I've obviously done this zone before on my warrior, and I really didn't like it that much. I guess I'm just not a fan of the whole spooky darkness aesthetic, but this time I was genuinely excited to quest here, and it may have taken 25 minutes, but I did eventually kill all 14 mobs I needed and collected all 10 fingers. Oh, and by the way, I hadn't mentioned yet today, but I have continued to level up my herbalism profession as well as my alchemy. Not really important, but I just wanted to say anyway. And next, I got to work on the second part of the quest, collecting spider venom, which took me 10 minutes, but I ended up being very close to the skeleton quest giver, so I decided to turn it in whilst I was there. Now, although I wasn't quite level 25 yet, it was getting kinda late and decided that that was enough World of Warcraft for now. Hope you all enjoyed today's video because I enjoyed making it, I always do. I once again apologize for the video being slightly shorter. You know, when you're recording these things, it's obviously recorded over multiple days, and then when you look back at the raw footage, it's like, oh, that's so much footage, how am I ever going to get through all that? But when it actually comes around to editing it, you think, yeah, okay, well, I could actually use a little bit more, especially when you're questing, because there's so much downtime and you're really only picking out, you know, select points throughout that 6-hour long recording. I also apologize for being slightly behind schedule. You know, rank 14 has just come out and I've been ever so slightly distracted with that. As for content coming out, I've got 2 videos coming out pretty soon. I've got one video that I've been working on for a good couple weeks now, so I'm hopefully going to get that done shortly. I've also got a new druid video coming soon. As for warrior content, I don't really have anything significant to make content about. It's definitely the kind of thing I'd like to stream, you know, talking to you guys and whatnot, but just due to technical difficulties, it's not really possible right now. Definitely in the future, just not right now. Anyway, I think I have yapped long enough. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all later.